Here is why your messages still get ignored despite your dozen follow-ups. Most freelancers follow up in very generic ways. They follow up with no intentionality. They follow up like unprofessional people. I'm so sorry to say that, but the truth has to be said. You're following up on a client, a prospective client, and what you're saying is, hello there, did you get a chance to check out my last message? Hello there, just checking in. Oh, quick follow up on my last message, or something along those lines of my last message. Now, most people ignore the fact that this person might not have been on Instagram when you sent that last message. So they probably do not even have access to their last message. I've had situations like that where I was trying to acquire a client for one of my clients, and I followed up on this person the way it was on my client's script, like, hi there, just checking in, hi there. I kept saying hi there, hi there, hi there for 3 days straight, and I did not get any response. We had to end that conversation there, and that is how we lost that client. Eventually, I realized that when you keep saying, hi there, please check out my last message, or have you had a chance to check out my last message, the person you're talking to feels pressured. They feel like you're putting too much pressure on them, and they check out of that conversation. Even though you guys have been having a very amazing conversation so far, and somewhere along the line they got busy and somehow stopped the conversation, and now you want to follow up on them to continue that conversation. Once you start with those generic follow-ups like, hi there, please check out my last message, hi there, what do you think about what we were discussing, things like that, they just check out of that conversation, and that is how you lose that client. What should you do instead? What is the proper way to follow up? The proper way to follow up is to give context to your last message. Read your last message, right? Read it and write out a sentence that gives context to that last message. Write out a sentence that explains that last message without sounding salesy, without sounding pushy, and without sounding like you're explaining too much or trying to pitch them something, right? So you read the sentence, you read your last message rather, write out a sentence that gives context to that message, a sentence that adds something new to that message. That is probably the best way to get that client to come back to that conversation. And I always advise people to end that sentence with a question, an open-ended question. Always end that sentence with an open-ended question. They have no reason to not respond to you. They have no choice but to reply, because now they have to answer the question that you have sent to them. They have to answer the question that you have pushed to them. It's a way to open up the conversation. Even when you're having conversations with human beings physically and you want to keep the conversation going, what do? You ask questions. The best way to get a client to come back to a conversation is to ask questions. And if the person has never responded to your initial message at all, that is the more reason to not send those generic follow-ups. The first message you send to them, read it and write out a sentence that throws more light on that initial message. Write out a sentence that throws more light on that initial message and gives context to that initial message. That is a professional way to follow up. This is 2026. Let's become professionals. Let's treat our freelancing business like real businesses. Everything you do should be done with intentionality. If you're tired of waiting for platforms to choose you, or waiting for clients to choose you from platforms like Upwork, Fiverr, if you're tired of waiting for them to choose you out of the sea of freelancers that are on those platforms, then you should actually take cold DMing and outreaches seriously this 2026. And if you follow the series to the end, you should become a professional outreach specialist, bringing in clients to your freelancing business monthly through professional cold DMing. This is part 6 of our client acquisition series, where I teach you how to acquire clients for your freelancing business using cold DMs or outreaches, like I like to call it. See you all in my next video.